Okay, so one of the things that we talked about was mindset. So when you first met me, can you share a couple of the mindset shifts that you guided me through to help me grow not just financially, but personally as a CEO?
Absolutely. And I think again, going back to identity, this is such a huge part of that because when we are building our business and we are in business in general, that becomes so much of who we are. When somebody asks us, "Who are you?" You say, "I'm a broker, I'm a bookkeeper." A lot of the time we don't necessarily look at our identity in its entirety. And I think that that's an important key factor in the way that we truly show up in the world. I think one of the big frames, not only for Melinda, but also for myself, is asking the question, who do I want to be today? Who do I want to show up as? What does that person look like? How does that person interact with other people? How do I make a difference? And when we start asking ourselves questions like that, instead of focusing on just the operations aspect and getting things done and checking things off a list, life becomes a lot fuller and we become a lot happier because then it's about the value of what we're providing instead of just checking things off the to-do list.
Thank you for that. For all the entrepreneurs in the room, we know burnout is real, right? So, what I would like to have you take a few minutes for those that are stuck at the five figures or low six figures on their business revenue, what is the most important system or process they should prioritize to prevent burnout?
So the number one thing that you want to do is clarify your direction. You clarify this with having the vision fully mapped out. So creating that strategic plan that fully aligns with your core values, with your organizational structure, and basically everything that you are going to be working on. We can't accomplish a lot if we don't have a system in place. And strategic planning has helped so many of my clients get in alignment, get clarity, and have the understanding of what do I need to do when. Because what a strategic plan does is it helps you with your timeline. If we don't have a timeline, we're just floating through. So I have my clients for all of the key priority activities create a timeline for what is essential to be completed throughout the year. So we typically will look at a yearly plan and we'll break everything down 30, 60, 90, 6 months, 12 months. We make sure that they are really clear on what are those KPIs, those key performance indicators that we want to achieve. What kind of goals do we want to specifically achieve by those timelines? And I'm not saying that everything's perfect. It's not always going to be perfect. We're not always going to hit our goals. But if we don't have any perspective of a time, it's going to continue to be elongated. It's going to take you longer time to scale. It's going to take you longer time to grow. You're going to be more chaotic and overwhelmed because you have no reference, right? Um, the second part is customer journey. So how are you creating a basically a journey so that customers can not only get to know you, but eventually to work with you? What programs, packages, and offers do you have currently established now that are leading them in that direction? So typically for me, I'm a coach. I know not everyone here is a coach, but I always provide some type of freebie, a freebie for them to get to know me, to download one of my newsletters, upcoming events. It might be a free digital course. And then I also provide them the opportunity to get a digital course. It might be paid, it might be a larger course, it might be something that they can just dig into a little bit more. And then I look at the hands on touch. So we've got the freebie, we've got the low ticket offer. And then there's something else that they can get invested in, whether it's my group coaching program, maybe it would be to come to one of my events, and then finally, my highest is my one-to-one coaching. So that's what it looks like for me. For you, it could look a lot different, but that's something that we could sit down together and really identify, because if they don't know how they can work with you, then they're not going to. They're going to move on to someone else. So we have to have that clarity, and we have to give them the understanding of where we can meet them where they are. Now, if there's going to be people that come in at different points in time in life, there might be somebody that's already fully established, and maybe they just want to work with Autumn. They want to do like a complete rebrand. So that's probably going to require a higher ticket price point. So identifying what they need, but we have to be able to have the options for them, right? Or maybe it's somebody that's just starting out that wants to test the waters, wants to feel things out. What do you have for free that you're giving them? And then thirdly, the third thing for scaling and organizing is the time management system. So having a really specific time management system that's going to help you stay on top of the day-to-day operations. Okay. And that, again, that's something that I help my clients get so much clarity on, because we do the audits, and we really take a deep dive into the things that are essential day to day to day. Okay.
Thank you. I still use the time block items that we put in place 3 years ago. It has become a part of my life. So that is really huge. Okay, so now let's talk about a few of the common mistakes you see entrepreneurs make when they're first trying to scale, and how can they avoid them?
Okay. So naturally we feel overwhelmed because there's a lot of moving parts. Naturally, we want to gravitate towards doing all the social media platforms. We want to be everywhere to everyone. And what I would encourage you to do is to minimize as much as possible. Look at what you're good at. Look at your giftings, look at your skill sets. What not only lights you up, but also helps you to get traction. I have a team now that helps me get on, I think I'm on 5 different platforms. However, I'm not posting on all those platforms. I'm personally posting on 2 every single day. Um, Now my team helps me to get on YouTube. I do some things on TikTok. I also, um, let's see, I have a podcast. So all of that stuff is automated. But before you get your team organized, and if you're just starting out, I want to encourage you to really go deep. Pick 1 or 2 that you're going to go deep in and focus on that. Same thing with networking. Don't go to everything. I encourage you to pick 1 or 2 key groups that align with your values, that align with who you are, that align with the mindset, that align with the types of businesses that you want to be around. Because again, we can only do so much. We only have so much bandwidth. So pick the ones that really resonate with you. Doesn't necessarily have to be in person. It can be online as well. But sit down with yourself and ask yourself those key components. What groups align with me? What social media platforms really align with me? What people really align with me? And when you do that, that's going to prevent burnout. That's going to prevent you from self-sabotaging yourself. So, other than that, creating boundaries, making sure that you have boundaries established every day with your business and also with your personal life. It used to be that I would work with 6 people in 6 hours. Like I would go back to back to back to back, and I'm like, that's not serving anybody. That's not serving me. That's not serving my clients. So I make sure that I have opportunity every day to take a break in between sessions when I'm working with people, and it's at least 5 to 10 minutes where I step outside, I get some fresh air, I move my body. You have to move your body. That's absolutely essential. So whether you're waking up in the morning and doing a quick workout or taking a brisk walk, that's part of my meat and potatoes. If I don't do that, I'm not going to be the best version of myself. So I highly, highly recommend that you incorporate that in your day.
Thank you for that. So let's say we have someone in the room that has not had this advice, has not had this insight, and they already find themselves at the point of burnout and being completely overwhelmed. What are a few key steps they can do today to steer that ship in a different direction, so to speak?
So prioritizing is essential. I always recommend picking the top 3 things every single day that you need to do in your business and in your personal life. So that's a total of 6. These don't have to be big things. They can be super simple. Um, Sometimes it's waking up with a positive attitude from a personal standpoint. Sometimes it's, um, you know, meeting with 3 customers. Sometimes it's making 5 sales calls. So prioritize your day like that, because if you are essentially making sure that you're like going down and looking at an entire list and trying to chop everything off the list every day, you're naturally going to feel overwhelmed. So this is typically where I start with my clients when they're already feeling like super overwhelmed. So we look at every angle of everything that we're doing, and we literally will do an entire week audit of everything. Everything that they do when they wake up in the morning to when they put their head on the bed at night. And we figure out, where are the mishaps? Where is the overwhelm coming from? Where are we missing the boat on things? Where are we distracted? Where, like, we don't know unless we really dig in and understand what that space looks like. So I would highly encourage you, if you've not done a time audit, to start looking at all of the things. And I'm talking about all the personal things too. Doing the dishes, the laundry, spending time with your kids. Like, what you might find is that you're not spending enough time with your kids. Like, every night you might think to yourself, well, I'm reading a book with them. I'm, spending like 10 minutes or so. But maybe for you, that's not enough. And unless you really determine what that timeline looks like, then you don't understand and you won't know. And if it comes down to it, set a timer. Set a timer when you're on social media, because that's one of the biggest distractions that we all have every single day. And if we're not careful, we're looking at it 20, 30, 40 minutes and all that time is gone. So if you are going to be on social media, set a timer and be intentional with it. Make sure that you are focusing on the right kinds of activities, the right efforts. If I'm on it, I'm focusing on what I'm posting. I'm posting on how, or I'm looking at how I'm responding to people. And I'm not saying I never scroll, but when I see that I'm starting to do that and like 5 minutes have passed, I'm like, okay, not serving me, not serving anybody else. I need to reframe. I need to focus on what I need to get done here. Okay. You have the potential to change anything that you want. Anything that you want. You just have to decide. Decide. I'm not going to live like this anymore. I'm not going to do this anymore. Okay. I guess that's it.
Thank you. I think everyone in this room probably knows 1 to 2 to maybe 5 business coaches in the area or have come across them. How important is it to have a mentor or a coach? And what would they be looking for in the right person to guide them?
Absolutely. So I've had a coach for a very, very long time. I'm actually currently working with Dan Martell. I'm not sure if any of you know who that is, but I have been in his coaching program. He wrote the book Buy Back Your Time, and it's phenomenal. The reason I hired him as my coach, because he's where I want to be. That is the person that I want to look to, with the systems, with the processes, with the organizational structure, with the opportunity to be able to scale and grow. Like, it's right in alignment with me. So that's how you choose your mentor. That's how you choose your coach. You look at them, you see where they are, you see what they've attained, you see what they made possible. They help you bridge the gap. So if you do not have a mentor, you don't have a coach, I highly recommend that you get somebody in your wheelhouse, because not only is it great for support, but it's great for accountability. And what you say you're going to do is going to be accounted for. You show up and you've done the work, then you're doing the right thing. You're moving in the right direction. But if you keep, following through, and all of a sudden you're realizing, well, I'm not getting the results that I want. You can help get critiqued. You can get feedback. You can have a better understanding of what needs to change. What can I do better? Because there are going to be times where we veer off course and we start moving on a different pathway, whether it's a distraction or we got that shiny object syndrome where we're like, oh, that sounds good. But having a coach is going to help you to stay in alignment with everything that you need to do from a customized standpoint.
Fantastic. If you could give one piece of advice that changed your life and business, what would it be?
To live every day like it's your last. And I say that because it completely changes your perspective on life. You give value at a greater capacity. You want to pour into people more. You want to spend more quality time with individuals. You want to show up to be the best version of yourself. And then you can say at the end of the day, I gave 100%. I was the best version of myself and whatever it looked like that day. And every day is going to look a little bit different. But if you live life from that standpoint, you're never going to have regret. You're never going to wish that you did something a little bit different because you were you and you showed up as your authentic self to be the best version of yourself. Okay.
All right, last question. What's next for you, and how can people in the room stay connected or work with you?
So I have a couple of different ways that I work with my clients. I do have a couple of one-to-one openings, as well as I just established a Dream Ignite Build inner circle, which helps you go through all of the things that we're talking about today, the systems, the structure, organizational methods, time management tools, and there's hot feet coaching, there's Q&A. So I'm very excited. I actually just launched that just this month. And outside of that, I have quarterly events. I have Dream Ignite Build events, which are always on Facebook and Eventbrite. And then let's see. I'm speaking periodically, and I definitely love opportunities to come and speak to groups. If you're looking for somebody to come in and work with your team, if you're looking for one-to-one support in your business, I have a lot of different avenues and pathways of ways that people like to move forward. But most importantly, I just encourage you to connect with me. I have tons of free information, resources, and I'm my number one priority is always helping people connect the dots. I want to help you connect wherever that is that you're trying to go to that next spot. Because you know what? So much of the time, it's just that next person that we need to connect with, that next resource, that next tool in order to really help us to move the needle. So I'm a firm believer in helping others to change lives. I feel that I've always led from a servant leadership standpoint. And my idea of working with people is also giving back and truly making a difference.